Hello, my name is Priscilla Sinder. I am the Director of Property Conveyancing Consultancy, PCC, and PCC Education Hub.
Hi, and my name is Maria Hardy. I am the Manager and Company Trainer at PCC and PCC Education Hub.
Today we're here just to give you a quick summary of what we do at the Hub and PCC and why we think it was so important to offer this service to the profession. So, Maria, I think a lot of people think about post-completion and it's just administrative. It's just perhaps names and dates. But in my experience, they're very technical requisitions that come up. One of the ones being when a joint proprietor, one of the proprietors has passed. So there's one single proprietor left, and then a PR is added onto the transfer to try and overreach Panel A restriction. And I know requisitions are raised because of that. Now, can you explain why that is?
Yeah, of course. So if you have a situation where you have a Form A restriction registered, one of the proprietors is deceased and one is remaining, here the personal representative cannot join in the transfer deed with the sole surviving proprietor. It is quite a confusing concept and it does catch a lot of us out. So yeah, it is very confusing. In essence, the legal reason is because only the beneficial interest of the deceased passes under their will, and therefore the personal representatives of the deceased have no power to deal with the legal estate or act with the survivor unless they are formally appointed as a trustee, and in which case they can then sign the transfer deed with the sole surviving proprietor in order to overreach the Form A restriction. This situation, however, can seem very, very much in contrast to a scenario where you have both proprietors are deceased. So there's a Form A restriction registered and both of the proprietors are now deceased. Here, the legal estate does vest in the personal representatives on the death of the sole surviving proprietor. So on the death of the last person, the estate does vest in the personal representatives of the last person to die. And this is detailed in section 1.1 of the Administration of Estates Act 1925. So provided there are at least two PRs named in the will, then those personal representatives will be able to sign the transfer deed as personal representatives, and that Form A restriction will be overreached. The Land Registry Practice Guide 24 does deal with private trusts of land, and obviously that is a very, very useful guide if you do come across this situation. But as Priscilla said, post-completion is quite a technical area of law, and if you were not picking up these points until requisitions were raised, you may be quite far down the line, and the longer it takes for these requisition points to be raised, the more risk there is involved and the less chance you have of getting all these documents corrected. So it is just a very clear example of why post-completion training is very, very important. So these points can be picked up either pre-submission or very, very early along the submission process. So you don't have to wait until requisitions are raised, which may come a lot later down the line.
That's great. Thanks so much, Maria. So you said some really key points there. Risk, delays. So can you tell our audience what the Hub is, why we created it, and what we are offering to the profession?
Yeah, of course. So we like to think of the Education Hub as a specialised learning centre. The Hub has evolved basically following the success of PCC, which is a UK-based outsourcing post-completion provider. As PCC has evolved, the risks of not placing post-completion at the forefront of your thinking has become apparent, and also the fact that a lot of people don't actually place enough emphasis on this area and the risks that can obviously relate to. So things like poor customer reviews, being removed from lender panels, fines imposed by the SRA or CLC for breaches of protocols. These are all things that can happen if post-completion have not been dealt with correctly. So this is basically why the Education Hub was established. Firstly, to show the importance of post-completion to the industry, and then secondly, to provide the profession with a post-completion service, which is basically an umbrella service and covers every area possible. So we have the PCC arm, which will be a dedicated UK-based outsourcing post-completion provider, and then we have the Education Hub arm, who are there to provide training, compliance and mentoring services to the profession. The Education Hub, we offer training sessions based on each of the land registry practice guides, and obviously the practice guides are key because, especially in complex scenarios, a lot of the registrars, when dealing with your applications, do revert to the guides for guidance. So it's just important that we as property lawyers are fully aware of the contents of these guides. In addition to the land registry practice guide, we do offer other post-completion training, such as introductions to post-completion and common requisitions. Then if we move away from the training side, we have a very, very comprehensive compliance package, which will provide an initial gap analysis to a firm, where we will be looking at what a firm's current state is, and then providing guidance on how they can get to their desired state. We will be providing compliance policies, checklists and forms, and also file reviews. And then on top of this, we also do offer a mentoring service where we will try and encourage people to be a lot more confident within their roles. So whether they're new to post-completion or whether they're an established post-completion member just looking to take that extra step, we will offer them guidance on how to get there and how to deal with complex problems that come up. So as I said, we are kind of an umbrella company that will cover all areas of post-completion. And as I understand, I think we are the only firm out there at the moment that is offering all these services where the focus is post-completion and post-completion alone.
That's great. Thank you so much, Maria. So in summary, that's us. And Maria's done a fabulous job, I think, of explaining post-completion to you, what the hub really intends to do. So it's not about the basic requisitions, but it's the really detailed requisitions that we just want to raise the bar across the whole profession. And please do get in touch with us. We do hope we've given you enough information, but thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Maria.
Thank you.